This is my 5th season with the team. I really enjoy my time so far here. I think we created something very special as a whole group of players together with coaches. I think this season was very challengeable for everyone, especially for us as players who faced a lot of challenges in terms of injuries, new additions with the players. But I think we learned a lot from this season as well, because even though we didn't reach playoff, which was probably one ultimate goal for everyone in the team, we kind of create a new chemistry, because it's not easy to contribute with the 4 new players after 4 seasons together with almost same team. But I think we didn't have a bad season. We just missed some points at the season that we couldn't make it better, or we couldn't break it through in our favor. I mean, I like always to accept whatever comes to me. Sometimes it's easier to handle positive results than let's say negative results, of course. But as I said, like every challenge, every opportunity in life is good to learn out of it. I think we had a pretty unlucky moment in the beginning, missing Shane, which is a big part of our system and of our chemistry. I really create a special bond with him, along with other players too, but he's really a guy that I like to play with on the court, and having him from the, let's say, January, it was a big part of our and big reason of why we couldn't started better the season. But for me personally, I'm never related to team results in terms of my approach, my dedication, and I think this season was a decent season for me. I think I could maybe do some things better, but also having another big name next to me as a real climber was also a good opportunity for me to learn how to sacrifice one more time my ego and let's say my individual performance in terms of numbers to get the best for the team. I don't think it was an unsuccessful season. I think having a new group of guys, it's also something that can be very dangerous in the future.
It cannot always be night.
I think last season, last EuroLeague in Belgrade was definitely by far the best experience that I had so far in my career, just because of many circumstances. It was my city that I grew up in, my country, with all the experience that we had beating Real in final. I mean, the whole struggle throughout the season that we had last year, many doubts were around us from the other people as well. So just being able to maintain that season and be consistent no matter what was the moment of the struggle, because we were at one point also out of the range of playoff teams, and then again we reached it and we beat Milano. So I think last season was really, really something special. I think this year was quite the most interesting season in, let's say, last 5, 6, 7 years that I'm participating. In terms of equality, I think all teams had a great chances to be a very, very dangerous competitors during the season. Also, I think the teams that they were not close to playoff maybe range, they had also great parts of the season, like maybe Alba Berlin, which I think is very, very important part for EuroLeague, because they develop a lot of young kids. They give them a great opportunity to play on the highest level in Europe, and that experience can create a lot of good new players, because I think the missing part of the EuroLeague is only lack of young players, because obviously most of them want to try themselves so early in the NBA, which is fine, but I think having them for a couple of years in Europe would be also useful for them to get some experience. But beside that, I think the season was very, very interesting until the very last round, and I'm very, very happy the way EuroLeague is developing and creating their future. I definitely feel that EuroLeague needs to feel more confident about itself, because I think now everybody starts to be more aware of what EuroLeague can bring to people in terms of intensity. It's very interesting league. I don't think they should be afraid of new changes or new teams, because I don't think it can go to the smaller number. I think it can only expand and bring more teams, which can bring more value to the league. To be part of EuroLeague in the last couple of years, for me it was very, very nice, because we moved from city to city, which every city has something nice to offer to us, and being able to play all over Europe, it's really beautiful experience. So I don't think adding Paris or London or whichever team they are thinking about will damage the league. I think it can only give the benefit. The reason why domestic players don't have so much opportunity is that I think they have to work more. I mean, they have to try to get better the same way that Americans try to do as well. I think in sports still we have obvious differences between quality. So if somebody is better, he deserves to play, and that's why sport and basketball is still very interesting to watch, because at the end of the day, the better team or the better player will play, or the better team will win. So I don't think that someone is losing their opportunity, because whoever is on the floor definitely fight for that position as well. So the domestic leagues or domestic coaches, they have to really work more, and they have to put better habits in terms of better prosperity for the players in the future. That's my opinion. I think I was better skier than basketball. That's my honest opinion. That passion that I still have about skiing, unfortunately, because of my contracts, I'm not able to do that anymore. But the very first day I finish the career, I'll go to ski. But I was really serious about that, because we grew up in mountain as a family. We had the opportunity to spend 6 months during the year on the snow, and nothing but skiing was the opportunity for me and my sister. I was very good at that. At one point I was, I think, 4 times champion of my country, and also of the Balkans. So I wouldn't be surprised if I would continue to practice skiing. So, because my father is one of the main reasons why we started everything related to sport, because he finished University of Sport, and his whole life was dedicated to, let's say, how to teach us to be able to choose at one part of our life which sport to go for. But obviously, since we grew up in mountain, we had the opportunity to do everything on the snow. And my sister, as I mentioned in previous interviews as well, she was very successful in snowboarding, and she was the very, very big reason why I always pushed myself above the limits, and why I was always motivated, because having someone in your family so successful is really healthy and is really useful for your improvement. So for me it was very, very logical that I stayed in sport. And now in these days I'm still less successful than my sister, because she was a member of Olympic Games. I still not. I think something that was crucial for me during my childhood was the way my parents look at me during my ups and downs, which means I never felt that pressure from them that I have to do something, that I have to be successful. And that's why I always felt that basketball is game for me. And even today, when everything became very professional and serious, I think I feel still that enthusiasm towards the basketball, and I really accept everything which is going along the basketball, which is professionalism, the way we live, the way we have to dedicate our time to that. But I don't see that as an obligatory thing in my life. ADIDAS it's half of my life with me, definitely. It's something very interesting that I will always have with me as a story, as something unique beside the career of basketball, because when I started I was just 17, and now it's been already 11, 12 years together that we cooperate. And I always mention to my friends that until today, whenever I receive the package of clothes or stuff, I'm still the same way happy that I was when I was 17. Because we all live for that. We all dream about having our sponsorship, having our shoes, and I'm really privileged to have this already 12 years with them.
Oh, 1.3 seconds on the clock.
My favorite player and let's say his personality was always Diamantidis. I really watched so many games when I was young, more EuroLeague than NBA, because I felt more similarities with these kind of players, and for me being able to play just EuroLeague now, it's a really big privilege, because I know how many games I used to watch, and mostly I used to watch Diamantidis. I think his personality was something very special, unique, beside his qualities as a player. I think he was always creating and making his teammates better. He was always humble, he was always quiet, not fancy guy, and I just tried to be similar to that naturally, but he was really my favorite player and person on the court. But let's say I have others too. I used to watch a lot Steve Nash. I was always fascinated with his ability with that size, how he creates his space, his basketball skill. Also, I used to like a lot Jason Kidd, and I mean, Teodosic was also one of my favorite. Now I'm playing against him, but these kind of guys were always someone that I look up to. I used to be 10 years ago very superstitious. I think many players have that. But then, thanks to one special person in my life who I've been working with for already 10 years, I get rid of all these things, and now I just play the game. I try to live in the moment. I don't prepare myself, nothing special. Of course, I'm really dedicated to basketball in terms of extra workout, in terms of all the things that are, for me, quite normal, but obviously some players have different approach. But just talking about some rituals, I really don't have them, because I enjoy more. I don't suffer so much if I have a bad game, and in the long term I think it gave me a lot of benefits. I think Eurocamp for me was really a big part of establishing myself in terms of basketball world after my injury. My mother, father, sister, they were the main booster at that time, because I was 17 years old, really young. I thought everything is over, but somehow I also looked at that experience as a time to change some habits. I was really a big talent at the age of 17, and suddenly everything started to change, but I think I really get matured at those 2-3 years really a lot, and I started to be more aware of my body, more aware of how much peace for me is very important, how much is important to still stay myself, not to listen everybody around me, not to trust everyone, whatever they say, not to have doubts, to quite like myself the way I am, not to be always looking for something more, because I think at that age you really always look for something more, and then you suddenly realize there are some limits that you can go over. And that's fine. That's not something that should depress you. That's something that should give you courage. And in these moments, I had really great time with my family. I think I started to have less plans, which is very important, because all these plans, all these stories that are not true, are really pressuring young kids in this time. The promises, the whatever people talk around them, and that was key for me. I mean, since that moment, I don't think that I was ever again in the clouds, that I was ever again thinking that I'm something special, but also I never let someone else to disrespect me, so that was great experience after that injury. And it was a really important experience, because I played against some Americans, which now are most of them really big part of NBA. So at that time, I even remember I met some important coaches from NBA. They came there. You check yourself next to other players. You create some friendships too. But as I said, a very important experience, because I finally realized that I was on a good way to come back after injury. It was really quality time for me. I remember I was chosen as the best point guard that camp, and I felt quite happy about that, because it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to reach. I'm very observative about my game, which means I don't go so wide about the details, but I'm definitely someone who check my game every day, not only seasons, because changes are very good things for players and persons, no matter how old you are. And I don't want to feel that comfort life, which means I'm sticking to my routines, because everything is changing. I think now I'm 29, I was in the camp when I was 19. In 10 years, I feel like 100 years pass, and in these 10 years I always try to develop my game. Basketball really changed. It used to be with a lot of big guys. Now it's almost every player around 2 meters. Everyone are very physical, really difficult to play without the shot, so I was working on my shot. And I always like to mention whoever is talking to me about basketball, I never forget fundamental things. I think this is something that is in my DNA, that I have to really start every practice with the basic things, which is ball handling, like small routines that helps me to get used to them. And then of course during the summer I try to add 1 to up to 2 or 3 moves that can be useful for my upcoming season, as of course I work on them during the season too. Advice is something that I was always looking for, but at the end I was always doing the way I wanted. I mean, I think advices should be always related to the personalities or individuals that have something special. I think working on your skill is something that will always give you extra confidence. Being patient is something that is always going to give you confidence. At the same time, you have to be relaxed, a little bit less pressure from what will come. I think very important thing is to be at the moment, to work day by day, and that's how you're going to create very good habits, which are going to give you a lot of benefits in the future. So trying to be at the moment and living the present is something that I would advise you. I don't think I would change anything. I really have so many experience until now that creates, I would say, first of all, a normal person and then a good basketball player. I had very good experience when I signed with Bayern Munich. I was 20 years old. I moved from Mega to the professional club with the professional athletes, and that transition was really strange and new for me, how to adjust on that, how to find still some friends and how not to feel lonely, because I think professional life is something that creates a lot of seriousness. You go through difficulties on your own, you are going through the good things as well on your own at the end of the day. So I looked at that the way, if the friendship happened to me, happened. If not, I have to survive on my own. And so far in this 10 years career, I really created great friendships with some of my friends and teammates. But I cannot say that I create from each team so many. I mean, you have to feel that naturally, but definitely I have with all of them. I think I'm someone that you can like or dislike as a type of player, but one thing that I'm quite sure about me is that you definitely respect my game, my consistency. Maybe I'm not the fanciest player, but I know what I can put on the court, and in the long term I think I am giving more benefits than damage to the team. I'm point guard who is tall for this modern time, who can do many things on the floor, but I think that consistency is something that I can give the most to the team. Individual improvement is in this time more important than team improvement, in my opinion, because team, however, will create their own chemistry, and if you can see now in playoff series, EuroLeague or NBA, it's most of the things about a one-on-one and individual quality which makes differences. On the top of that, I try to adjust on the game. Like now it's a modern thing that everybody plays switching defense, so you have to be able to create for yourself, for the others, and not one time but all games. So that's something that I always work on my game. The last 4 years, let's say, since I came here, I really play spontaneous, and that's something that I like the most about playing with Efes and Coach Ataman. There are many differences between coaches in EuroLeague, and some of them are very strict, some of them give so much freedom to the players, but rarely players can have that much of responsibility and awareness to control themselves during the season, not only one game but the whole season. I think with my experience previously with Sharas, who really helped me a lot to understand basketball and learn some details about point guard position and freedom that I received from Ataman, I found that combination perfectly for me, which is not using in a bad favor this freedom. I think I deserve that freedom. I deserve that confidence from coach because I make correct decisions in the most of the times on the court, but that's something that gave me a lot of confidence playing spontaneously, and that's what I like a lot about game, and that's how I think I'm the most dangerous when I'm unpredictable. But something that I don't like about me when I start to sound like a mature guy and start to overthink during games sometimes, because I have the best desire, but sometimes it's damaging my game. So that's still something that I'm working on, but in general I'm happy with my way of playing. It's really hard for me to say what is something that I prefer. I like so much good assist, and I felt so good when I make someone happy. But I also think that in this time, point guard needs to be able to score. But since I was young, I always preferred to be also the good passer. I was always enjoying these moments when I have no look pass or good assist. So both things I like. I think the amount of games during the season really affect competitions with the national teams, because with the amount of game, which is around 90 to 100, it's really hard to find some room to rest and then get yourself ready for the next seasons. But still, that enthusiasm that we have, especially in Serbia, to be able to play for our national teams is bigger than our awareness of the difficulties of the seasons. Last summer, we really had a great team with some lack of luckiness. We lost this game against Italy, but I was very happy that all the members of national team respond positively, and we had a great team. So I hope that this summer we will be able to get along together as well. I don't think the results are really related to quality of the team. Also, the experience with Anadolu Efes in last years shows me that no matter how much you invest financially or your effort or whatever, there are so many consequences that you have to face during the season or during the summer with national team or with the club that you can predict, which is sometimes injury, sometimes chemistry. Even though you have the best desire, it's sometimes really not just clicking or working. Being able to reach some result is really many things that have to get together. And as well, the same is with the national team. Last year, I think we had maybe the best top 3 teams in Euro Championship, but one game you had a bad luck and you just lost the game against Italy. That was obviously at that moment maybe weaker team on the paper, but they beat us. Same happened with the team in Anadolu Efes game. We won against Olympiacos in the last second shot. We won by 1 against Real Madrid. So how you can predict it is really difficult or impossible. So we should go more relaxed to the competitions and more hype, and that's how I think you create better chances. I would like to participate as well. My generation now established as a priority generation in the national team, and together with some younger generation and maybe some older players, I think we can have a good mix of quality, experience and youth. I don't actually make so much difference. I think the pressure is just a difference. The way I play for Turkish team as Efes or the way I play for national team, it's really same for me, the way I approach. But that pressure that we always create around national team, it's not really easy to handle. As a Serbia and as a sports country, we are the best to create the pressure on the national athletes, but that's a part of our destiny. We really have a good relationship. We play together in Mega. I think he is a really unique person, very humble guy, just so normal, and being him on the floor creates so many enjoyment for everyone. He's so talented and everybody already knows that. I hope he will be fresh, he will be ready to help national team this summer too, but we'll see. I mean, everyone should decide for themselves, but having him in national team is really special. I'm not watching basketball, honestly. I used to watch so much, but I have so much basketball in my life that, of course, I know what is going on. I know who is playing the way, how they play players, or who is having good season, because it's quite natural thing for me as a basketball player. But to be so into that, I don't do that anymore, because I think having some other things to do in life creates more opportunity for me to play better on the court when it's about a game. If you ask me about playing time and some decent salary that you can reach in Europe, which is now very, very corrective and good amount of money and everything that you can get next to it, in terms of good life, Europe became very, very good for players to live in most of the cities. Clubs are trying to develop their organizations in a better way, having let's say almost every team charters, having good conditions where to practice and playing in front of great atmospheres. I think this is something that is going to good directions in Europe for whole teams. But beside that, I was always the one who was looking to play, because when you play you have opportunity to prove yourself, and then everything comes after that. But if you are sitting and just talking about you that you are good or you used to be good, I think it really disappears very fast and people start to doubt about you. I was always looking for somewhere that I can feel that I'm a big part of team, that I can help the team, reaching maybe one of the best positions team as well, like I did in Efes. But when I came here, I was just looking for opportunity to play. That's my philosophy. Maybe someone prefers going there and sit there, but I don't think this is a good decision. I definitely still think about NBA. Even last summer I was thinking too, the year before. Every summer I'm trying to prepare myself for NBA challenge, not because I'm unhappy in Europe or unhappy in Efes. That's naturally that I have that desire still. I think teams and the coaches trying to make all the teams competitive. They don't want to wait anymore for 5 years. Now everyone wants to be competitive every year. They want to create a good team to be able to compete on the highest level, because I think the way the basketball developed, the way the talents are insane in this time, with their athleticism, with their skills, gives them more opportunity to believe in themselves, and is getting more serious in terms of all teams being able to compete. As you mentioned, I would not be happy to go there and just be a small part of the team, because I really dedicate so much time to basketball. But this summer I feel like I'm more than ever ready with my desire, with everything. We'll see what will happen. I think we have also Bogdan Bogdanovic, who did amazing things so far in NBA, and I'm very, very happy that we have two guys like them. Also the others like Pokuševski, like the young guy Jovic, who will be probably a very good player in the future. Marjanovic, who is also doing good things so far. I'm very, very happy that they are representing Serbia in that way, and if the opportunity comes to me in the right way, I will be more than happy to accept it.